So, Georgia Tech yesterday introduced the 15th head coach in their men's basketball history, with it being Damon Stoudemire. Now, this news was broken on Monday by Adrian Wojnarowski, and then today, or yesterday, he was announced. I've kind of done a little bit more research onto the hire and given my thoughts on it with the press conferences and past records and whatnot. So, I'm going to go over my thoughts on that and just kind of also give a note for Josh Pastner at the end of this video, like a thank you note. So yeah, I'm just going to give my thoughts on this. We are so super close to 100 subscribers. Please subscribe. It would mean the world. I'm trying to hit 100 by the end of the month with March Madness going on and whatnot. On Sunday, I'm going to be on the Rec Talk show on their channel, so I'm going to leave a link to their description down below. Come join, come vibe. We're talking tech basketball with the new head coach. So yeah, without further ado, let's get into it. So Damon Stoudemire was a player for Arizona under Lou Olson in the 90s. Former NBA player, got his coaching start on the Memphis Grizzlies in about 2008, moved over to the college ranks with Josh Pastner at Memphis, moving over to Pacific as well, having a 71-77 record at Pacific, but I don't believe that record really tells the whole story. First 3 years, they were abysmal. It's hard to build something over in the WCC if you're not the likes of Gonzaga, BYU, or St. Mary's. But by his fourth year, he did finish 23-10 and was third in the conference, beating St. Mary's, really only having trouble with Gonzaga, winning WCC Coach of the Year, and then with the COVID-shortened season, did struggle a little bit, but still was competing in the games that they were needing to compete in. Now, with a little bit more resources that Tech has over Pacific, I think that was what was a little bit more enticing for him to take this job. When he left Pacific, the Celtics job with Ime Udoka was a little bit enticing because it's like you get this and you get a higher assistant role on an NBA team, a little bit more money, I would assume, and but Tech can offer that as well, and I believe that's what Tech did, and with the vision that he shares and his relationship with Kyle Sturdivant that he has, I believe that's what drew him to this job. Now, in terms of what he explained the offense we want to see, because that's kind of what a lot of Tech fans want to know. With the Princeton style that Josh Pastner ran, it was very boring to watch. Doesn't get butts in seats, as they put it. It's going to be a very different style. Now, he is a very defensive-minded coach that's been known. So that aspect of the game won't change. I don't think we'll see the 1-3-1 rotating guards as much as we were accustomed to with Josh Pastner. But I believe the defense will still be really good. It's the offensive side of the ball that's going to change. He explained it as he split it into 3 sections. It's like the first 6 to 7 seconds, the next 10 to 15 seconds, and then the last 6 to 7 seconds. So it's more of the beginning of the offense is just kind of take advantage to what the defense is while they're getting set up. Like figure out what we can. If there's nothing there, don't force it. Next, and move into the set that they actually want to run, that Damon wants to run with them. And then if the last 6 to 7 seconds is just finding the right guy, getting the right shot, it's going to be a very different style, and I think it'll take some getting used to. We're not used to seeing something other than center go up to the high post, run a bunch of off-ball movement, screen action, and look for a layup or a three-pointer. That was kind of the offense that Josh Pastner ran, and it's going to be very different to watch in the upcoming years. Now, he did go a little bit into like recruiting, transfer portal, NIL, a little bit different that since when he left Pacific in 2021. NIL has become very prevalent, and he said it's really no different than what he's used to anyway, with how much NIL money sponsors give and whatnot. It's kind of like dealing with a salary cap, like how much can you spend, how much can you allocate for these players, and with the transfer portal, it's in the NBA, players are moving in and out all the time. There's so many roster shuffles and whatnot. You have different guys. And he said that's no different. It's just you got to find the right guys for your system and for your program. He doesn't want guys who just basically like see the money and don't want to work for it in that regard. He did touch up a little bit on the roster. He's talked a little bit to them. It's been a long 3 days for him. He sounded so tired in his interviews. But I believe this change is for the best. With J-Bat's hiring and his knowledge in basketball, this writing was kind of on the wall once he took the job. I love Pastner to death. He did a lot for this program and helped reshape the image that Brian Gregory kind of gave for it. Yeah, there wasn't any 20-win seasons. There was a conference championship, a tournament appearance, an NIT championship appearance, There was a little bit more success than had been sustained in the previous coaches, but what's also different about this hire is that when Damon was hired, Celtics fans were very, very sad to see him go. With Pastner and with Brian Gregory, both hires, they're just kind of like, yeah, you can take him. We don't really want him. Excuse me. They're just kind of like, yeah, we don't want them. Damon Stoudemire they were very, very sad to see him go, and everybody's like, that's a great hire, fantastic hire, he'll help your program. The only thing that really concerns me is how quickly he did leave Pacific for this NBA job. If he does succeed here and an NBA job opens up, and for some reason he's on the radar, that does scare me a little bit, but I believe that this is his program to build from the ground up. So it's going to be an experiment. He did touch up with the players. He mentioned Kyle Sturvin and Miles Kelly by name. He also mentioned he wants to build on the momentum they finished the season with. They won 6 of the last 8 games. Should have won more. They should have beat Wake Forest. Should have beat Pittsburgh 2 of those times. It just kind of got out of hand a little towards the end. But he also emphasized that he wants really, really good guard play because guard play wins championships. And with Georgia Tech, that has such a rich history of great guards like Kenny Anderson, Stephon Marbury, Mark Price, Jose Alvarado as of recently. Not a great NBA guard, but in making his name and is a Tech legend, obviously. Now, I'm going to leave this with the final note for Josh Pastner. Thank you for making Tech basketball a little bit exciting for a little bit. It didn't expand the program, but it made such a tight-knit group and people who respected you as a coach. That's all I could ask for with the group of guys you had. I wish there was a little bit more success, but obviously a conference championship, that banner will live forever. That legacy will live forever at Tech, and you built such great young men going out into the world. That's what we want from high school and college coaches, is guys who do that. Yes, success is very nice, but Tech wanted to go in a different direction. I believe Pastner will find a job somewhere else, possibly at a smaller school, I believe his system would work a lot better at a smaller school, just finding the right guys. But who knows? There was a suggestion brought to me by somebody that Pastner could come on with Damon Stoudemire as a defensive assistant, which I really, really wouldn't mind. He'd still be a part of the program. He's just not the one calling the shots and adjusting, which I believe Damon Stoudemire will be a lot better at. Now, in terms of this hire, I was more shocked at how quick it was rather than who the guy was. The guy is shocking, and I'm glad that we got the talent that we did. It was 4 days. On Friday, I made the video about Pastner being fired right before I went to the airport. And then I get back, and a day later, Damon Stoudemire is hired. So I believe that there was possibly some talking in between. But J-Bat, the thing is, he's making the moves to try to further his programs for football and basketball so far. But will they pay off? We don't know. Only time will tell. It's still super, super early into their tenures, into Brent Key's tenure, even though we've seen him as an interim. Damon Stoudemire hasn't even been on Tech's campus for more than 2 days. And J-Bat, he's doing the right moves. We just don't know how well it's going to work out. This could turn out to be a very poor hire. I really, really hope that's not the case. I'm a very optimistic person. So I think this can take Tech in the direction that we want to go, to compete for the ACC championships, to compete for the tournament, to possibly make some memorable Final Four runs again. I was too young to remember the last one, so I selfishly, I'd like to see one in my lifetime. So yeah, those are really my thoughts on this situation with Damon Stoudemire. Let me know your thoughts on the hire down below, if there was a different guy that you would have preferred. I think this is a fantastic hire. Only time will tell, obviously, but I think this is going to put us on a step in the right direction. So yeah, that's about it. See ya.